Good morning everyone, and welcome back to a sunny Perthshire in bonny Scotland. Just me today, the other boys are all busy. I'm out with the Deus II after a very successful day yesterday. So today, someone mentioned it in the comments, I'm going with programme number 2, which is sensitive. This field has been done to death. And we did find a long time ago, probably 15 years ago, we got a Roman silver scattered hoard from this field. 88 silver Roman coins, which dated from the 3rd century. And I don't think we've had another one in the last 4 or 5 years. So let's go with the sensitive programme and see if it can turn up anything else. Just 5 minutes in, and it was a 76. It was a little bit scratchy, and I didn't film it because I just assumed it was probably going to be junk. But what have we got? Maybe a button? Yep, it's a button. There's the shank at the back, snapped. Let's give it a wee rub-a-dub, see if there's any detail. Can't see any obvious decoration. Pretty corroded on the face, very chunky button though, a heavy button, and there is some lettering on the back, but it's too far gone to make out. But it's a good sign. I've only been going for literally a few minutes. First signal, and you know, if you're missing this, then you're going to be missing potentially coins and other artefacts. Date wise, probably going to be into the sort of 18 into the early 1900s, I would think. This one came in very sort of weak, very faint. It's now shown 63, 64, 66, but initially you could barely register it, and it was about 9 inches down. So let's see if we've got something good. It is very breezy today, and it's only going to get worse. So I hope it doesn't get too bad. I think we've got a little clod shot for us. Oh, I've dropped it. There we go. I think that's it there. That is it there, right there. That is a little thing. It's like a copper alloy, I would say, and I reckon that is a tractor related sort of part. Get quite a few of these sort of bizarrely curved pieces of metal, but it's my first real deep signal. Didn't come in particularly strong, but a couple of spadefuls out and then it sounded better, and as I say, it was about 9 inches down. I'm only 10 minutes in, and we've got another relatively good sounding signal. 54, 55. So that's a kind of tin foil or maybe a button territory on the general setting. Let's see what it is on sensitive. Out in the first spadeful, so not particularly deep. Not really seeing anything obvious. Was that it there? That's a piece of clay pipe again. There you go. That is a little bit of clay pipe. So I got a bit yesterday. Got another bit today. Smoking pipe. Right. Something here. Nope. What's that? That's it there. It is a little slither of lead. Could be any sort of age, but There we go, a little bit of clay pipe and a little piece of lead. Good signs of people being here probably in the 16, 17 into the 1800s. This signal is not amazing. It's a solid sort of 86, but it doesn't sound great, so let's give it a go and try and learn a little bit more about the machine. You've got to dig it to find out. Again, not particularly deep, so if it's a good signal, I certainly shouldn't have missed it. What's that? That is it there. I can see something circular in the soil. Looks like it might be a washer. It is, I think, a little stud or a little washer maybe. Let's give it a wee rub, see if there's any detail. Well, the XP DEUS II, yet again, doing a good job. Okay, it's nothing remarkable, it's a copper, probably a copper washer, but it might be some sort of stud from leather or from some kind of sort of tarpaulin or sheet of some description. Another signal and another find. 15 minutes in, it came through 26, 27. It was a bit faint, a bit scratchy, didn't film it. Down about 8 inches, 8 to 9 inches probably on the hole there. Full pinpointer's depth, and in the final spade fill, I think we've got a button. We have. We've got a button, a little domed button. This is a sort of two-piece button, so the front part is missing, sort of bolts on separately. Often these are military type buttons, so there would be a dome shape on the other side. Give it a little clean up, see if there's any detail, but I doubt it. I can't see any decoration, but it does look like it's maybe been gold gilded. There's a few flecks of gold on there. I suspect it's probably going to be a military button, more than likely from the 1800s, but it could be a little bit earlier. It could be back to the 1700s. You could see where the loop would have been. But more importantly, you know, it's another find that I've missed. It's at a reasonable depth, 8 to 9 inches, and you know, out the box, I have to say this machine is a lot less complex than I expected it to be. I've had previously a White's DFX, which I had for 15 years. Anyone who remembers the DFX, my God, you needed a computer degree to operate it. But this is literally turn on and go, ground balance, and off you trot. And okay, there's, I'm sure, lots of tweaks and things that can be done, but out of the box, straight into a pre-program on a field that I've done very recently, just in the last couple of weeks. This was kind of my test field, so I did this back to back as intensively as I could, and look how many things it's turned up already that I missed with the XP Goldmax, and a few of them at a decent depth. Right, on to the next. Just a few feet away from the button, fairly solid, 41, 42, 40, so maybe tin foil, maybe another button. Let's have a look and see. The wind is getting stronger and stronger. It's out the hole, 2 spades down, somewhere around here. In this clod. It is. We're in this clod. What is that there? Is that a piece of tin foil? It is. Now that is, as expected, a piece of foil. We've got the highest readout so far. $89, $90, $91. And it's blowing the ears off. I think I'm going to go with aluminium, tin can. Silver coin would be nice, but I think it's jumping about too much. Okay, we're out the hole. So far so good. I don't see any big chunks of aluminium. There it is there. I think we might have a buckle. think we might have a buckle. It is. It's a buckle. Now, how did I miss that previously? That was an ear blowing signal. So that looks like it's off of a set of horse reins, or some sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Not reins, harness. Some sort of horse harness or horse reins, I am guessing. I don't think it's particularly old. Probably going to be sometime in the 18 or 1900s, but that was, you heard it, that was an ear blowing signal. 2 spadefuls down, probably about 6 inches give or take. And I should never have missed that with the old Gold Max, but probably you'll find I was just either in between lines because the field's not very well ploughed, so it's difficult to walk in a straight line. But anyway, it's a find, another find. We have a solid 71. Quite consistent with the numbers and quite a strong tone, so I don't think it's very deep, but let's see what we get. It was actually sticking out the ground. You might have spotted it just on its edge like that, and I gave it a wee kick and out it came. It's a piece of lead, circular lead, and it looks again like it's got decoration on it. You can see some dots and maybe a letter or letters on this side, not sure. Let's give it a clean up and see. Oh, is that a wee flower? Not sure on that one. Right, this looks interesting. Let's give it a clean up and see. Okay, so here's the reverse. Is it a letter V? Is it some sort of design or decoration? Is that a cross? A letter H maybe? I don't know. I don't know. It definitely looks like it's been something, but I'm not sure what. But on the other side, we've got lots of dots. Is that a cross shape going across there? And it does look a bit like, let me give it a zoom, little flowers. Flower, flower. There's another flower. And little dots, little lines maybe. So that's interesting. I think this is like a lead token, a farm lead token, or a farm token people sometimes call them. Could that be medieval? Could it be post-medieval? Could it even be Roman or something earlier? It definitely looks like a letter, like a V, or maybe something going on there. Just maybe even just a couple of lines with a dot above. Either way, it is interesting. Let me know in the comments below. Okay, that's me made it to the sort of end of the test area that I did. So I covered there about, I don't know, I'm guessing probably about the size of a football field that I'd already been over 2 weeks ago to a week ago with the Gold Max Power V4. And I felt it was fairly cleaned out. You could argue that the plough soil has settled, air gaps have been removed, etc, etc, but you know, I'm happy that I've found things that otherwise I would not have found. So I'm going to just zigzag around in this field now and see if there's any other signals to be had. I've got another eyes only find. Right here, looks like we've got another piece of a clay smoking pipe. It is. This is the bit sort of towards the bowl. I think that's where there's been a little foot to rest it on. You can see the hole that passes through. So there have been a lot of heavy smokers kicking around here. And as I mentioned before, a great sign of people And where there are people, there are lost relics and coins. So let's keep hunting away, see if there's any more to be had. Well, that piece of clay pipe came from right there. You can see the impression, just the tip of my finger, and I gazed just to the right hand side and I think we've got a bigger one. A different colour. Look at that. That is indeed. That is another piece of clay pipe. And it's got a little thing on the bottom. Oh, it's got a little impression like a tower or a crown. Well, this is really good signs. Look at that. Yeah, it looks almost like a sort of chess piece. It's probably a maker's mark. And this would have been the bowl end, so there would have been a bowl here, which was where you would have put your tobacco and you would have sucked on that end, although it would have been much longer. Sometimes these clay pipes were, you know, 8, 10, 12 inch long stems. Massive. But that's a really good sign. Looks like there's almost a little bit of decoration there as well, a shield. And I'm not sure, maybe the same on that side. But that is very interesting. So always worth, when you're metal detecting, just keep your eyes open. It's not all about the metal finds. And if you see bits of pipe and bits of pottery, it's always a good sign that there's more to be found. Great. Got another bit of smoking pipe. I think this is part of the bowl, possibly, which would have held the tobacco. And we've got a really good signal right next to where this was. So I've been zigzagging around these pieces of pipe, see if there's anything to be had. And here is the signal. Right where that big clod is. Solid 86, and it's blowing the ears off. Let's see if there's a coin to be had. I think we might have coin of the day, or first coin of the day should I say. Right here, I think we've got a clod shot. That looks pretty circular to me, and I think we've got a coin. That's too big to be a button surely. It's quite thick. Is it going to be a Georgie? Oh, dropped it. There's an impression. Always nice when you get a wee impression. I think that could be a George. Looks like we've got a head there. This might clean up quite well. Right, let's give it a rub-a-dub on the trousers and see if we get any detail. Well, as Georgian coins go, it's not in too bad a condition. You can see the line at the bottom, that's where the date would have been. I think it's a halfpenny, and you can just make out Britannia seated. Always looks like she's wearing almost like a massive ball gown, but that's her sitting on the rock. The odd letter. It would say H for half in penny. And on the other side, a very clear bust actually. Can just make out Georgius, IVS, Georgius, and there 111 Rex. George the Third King. And you can see his big tatty head, his big potato head, looking to the right hand side. George was, amongst other things, also Elector of Hanover, or King of Hanover effectively. And he was also King of Great Britain. He ruled from 1760 to 1820. His wife was Queen Charlotte. She was from Mecklenburg. And between the two of them, they had something like 16 children. He ruled for 60 years, 1760 to 1820, and as I've mentioned many times before, the madness of King George, he lost his mind, and he lost the Americas, who gained their independence while he was on the throne. And things have gone pretty well for America since they got their independence. First coin of the day, and I don't know, could be contemporary with the bits of clay pipe. Quite possibly. Good find. a very faint 74, and 5 inches down, give or take, a little square of copper, or copper alloy I think, but good for the depth that it was, and it is getting increasingly windy. A very solid 58, not jumping about at all, and I would say that's button territory. Let's put the detector out of the way because I think I can see it. I think it's sticking out the ground, and I think it's a tomback, either broken or whole. And it is whole. It is a little tomback button. The bane of a metal detectorist's life, because they always look like milled silver. See the lovely shimmer. So tomback, I've mentioned before, it was a kind of metal. It was like an alloy made from copper and zinc. Very popular during the reign of George III, 1760s, 1820s. And probably this button's contemporary with that George III coin, and probably also the clay pipes. So it was, oh, nearly fell over. So there's certainly been something going on in that kind of era. On to the next. The wind is really picking up now, but we've got an interesting one here. We've got a piece of iron that was just on the surface. It looks like it's actually part of a cog mechanism. And that's it there. 0102, and it's coming up on the horseshoe as ferrous, but there's something else there, because I moved that further away a second ago. I kicked it to the side, so there's the iron 0102, but there's a solid 84 in there as well. So let's have a dig down, see what it might be. Trying my best to tuck the microphone away from the wind. So we're out the hole, second spadeful down. There's the sort of iron, it looks like a cog. It's got that sort of gentle curve on it, and you can see the individual teeth, probably part of a mechanism for a big wheel. And we're out the hole on the second spade, so about 4 to 6 inches down. There we go. Coin or button? I think it might be a coin. It is. It is a halfpenny. You can see the words half and penny. And we've got a date. 1928, I think that is. Which means it's going to be a gorgeous George. Georgie V, by the grace of God. It is indeed. Right, let's give him a wee clean up and get a better look at him. Well, he's in reasonable condition. Halfpenny, Britannia seated with the trident. 1928, I think, is the date, which is the year he died. Georgius V, by the grace of God, King of the Britons, Defender of the Faith, and the Emperor of India. And you can see his little head looking to the left hand side with his very fine moustache. So he ruled from, I think it was 1910 until 1928. And I mentioned before, his wife Mary of Teck was previously engaged to his brother, who died during a influenza epidemic in the late 1890s. His brother was also the character who many thought might have been Jack the Ripper in London. But his brother died, and George V succeeded him as next in line to the throne. And when his father, George IV, Teddy, son of Queen Victoria, died, George V became king. Nice coin. And George himself was euthanised by his physician, without the permission of the royal family, it should be added. partly so his death could be confirmed in the morning papers. Nice. A relatively shallow 81, just a few inches under the surface, bit erratic, and we have our first moo tube. So these were ointment tubes. I've heard various different stories. They were sometimes injected into the udders of cows. Other people tell me that they were ointments for sheep's eyes. Probably a bit of both, I would imagine, but either way, junk. Well folks, that is me for today. Another day out with the XP DEUS II. Today I was on sensitive mode, which is program 2 all the way through, and okay, didn't find any amazing sounds or signals or finds, but got a couple of coins, winkled out various buttons and other bits and pieces that I have previously missed with the XP Gold Max Power V4. Really enjoying this machine. It's a bit cliched to say it, but it just feels like a wand. It's like an extension of your arm. So noticeable, the difference in weight compared with my XP Gold Max Power V4. I feel like I could swing this all day long, and just has absolutely no bearing on your stamina. I can just keep going all day. It's also great that it's, you know, you turn the machine off by doing that and it shuts off your headphones, it shuts off the coil, no faffing about. It's just a real delight to use. And as I said before, the fact that it's so light but it's still really good. You know, when you're going across these furrows, you're hitting rocks, you're hitting stones, you're hitting big clods of earth, and often the Gold Max was a bit flimsy. It would flex, the coil was constantly moving, the stem, because it was on the longest setting, it was often felt like it was about to come apart. And this is really robust. I'm really enjoying it, and as I mentioned through the video earlier, I'm getting to grips with it really quickly, and I quite like that program, the program 2, the sensitive mode. So I'll probably give it another go later on, and when I do, we'll go with a different program again and try and work my way through all of them and get a real feel for the machine, the different depths and tones and settings, and see what happens. So if you like what you saw, then give me a like, give me a follow if you haven't already, and we'll see you on the next dig.